I agree with you totally. I just don't like I do agree with you that it's an apportionment issue. I've been saying that all along. But, we had some significant questions on how we come up with that, and if it does affect the rates might have to change again. I just have never supported piecemealing parts together. Your point about the billing cycle is valid and well taken, but I thought we had cleared that, Council President, with a special meeting, and we verified with Treasury and Finance that we would be able to get that done within the time, so there would not be any person in the cycle that would not be impacted. Is that not correct?
If we schedule a study session within the next week or so.
Yeah.
We have a lot of meetings.
We have a ton of information. I know there's been dozens of emails.
Right. That's why
I do think that the methodology is a valid discussion to have. I just don't see after 3 years. I think the first methodology changed happened in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And if we've been studying it for 3 years, I don't know how we're going to get it done in 1 week now.
Well, no, I agree with you. The problem is in 2017, the rate change in 18, as the director indicated, was a cost neutral. We found that to be, in my terms, a disaster. So when you say studying it for 3 years, I would say no, trying to reconnect and get it back to where it was. And that's my whole point. That's why I asked the chief of staff that there is cities that are at 100% based on use. For me, since we're going to get into the discussion, I believe that you pay for what you use. So if you're paying less for what you use and more just for fixed costs, that's an apportionment issue. And we have companies that saved, I have the stuff, we want to go over it. There's companies that saved $250,000 to $300,000 a quarter on 1 meter in 2018, and that company has 32 other meters. That's not my data. That is data given to us by the city, and I have it here. If you want, we can bring it out. But my opinion, and what we said during our budget session, is that we need to get it right. In 17, I don't think anybody disagrees that what we were told and what actually happened was not what we intended. I think all of us said that. That's why we changed it immediately the next year. As soon as the first bills came in and people started going nuts, their rates went up 30%.
That was 2018.
Yeah, 2018.
We were on council. You said 2017. I
Well, I
apologize.
mean, okay, yeah, I think, well, maybe I meant 17 and they took rate effect in 18, maybe it was the same.
It was actually June of 18 we made the
Okay,
change.
but the point is, when we made the change, we immediately seen that the people, just so everybody understands, when you have a rate based on use, and that's why I asked, that's why there's 3 cities in our graphs that we compare ourselves to that are charging 100% based on use. So ready to serve, we went all over this. The bottom line, hang on, the bottom line is, this is piecemealing it together. We need to get it right because what we were given in 18 was not what we expected, and that's why we immediately changed it the next year. And that's a fact. I got a procedural question, then I have a general question for the city attorney. You were at the meeting yesterday where the charter indicates that a study session can be called by 2 parties. I requested it, Councilwoman Burns agreed to that. Now, I know this is on the table, so before I start bringing out the charts, because I don't understand, well, my second question, so I'd like to find out, does this have to go through when you have a charter that indicates that 2 people can call a study session? That's my first question. Second, after that, if we're going to go through, I'd like the time to go through my data, Council President, and ask the questions that I never received the answer for, and I'd like to go through it because in simple math, I don't know how 72% of use, that's a charge for using water, versus 65, that 65 is better for the residents when the corporations, we have one of them using 1.3 million gallons a day. So I don't know how that is turning out to be, which is what we were told, better for the residents. That's what you said, right? That's what we were told in 2018 as well, and that turned out to be a disaster. So 2 questions I have. One, since there was a study session request by the charter by 2 members, does that make this take off, or do we still have to vote on this? And then if it is, I'd like to be able to have time to go over this and ask the questions to the director.
So Ms. Walling.
Well, Councilman Sareini is correct that 2 members may call a study session, but it doesn't speak to whether that's going to hold up an item that is on your agenda. And I think for this agenda item not to go forward, it would have to remain on the table. At this point in time, the study session can go forward either way, whether this gets voted on tonight or not.
Very
May-
briefly, Councilman Sareeni, and then
Well, he's
council
making a
members-
statement about an ethics question, which I'd like to respond to.
I'm making, yeah, that's my
Right.
thing, yes.
Right,
just
I
wanna-
think that's
want-
what you're making.
Yeah, I just want to
So
make sure that,
I'd like
I
to
want a
respond to it.
clarity. that-
Well,
yeah,
right,
okay.
so first, I appreciate that you spent $112,000 in water.
Yeah.
Right? That is
And
not the
sewer.
water.
And sewer.
And sewer, okay.
They're
The bottom,
combined.
yeah, the bottom line is, the person that's using it in the city of Dearborn, the resident, doesn't use it to profit or make money and cannot pass it off to the end user. You're using it for business proceeds that can be used in cost methodology, which you understand. But I'd like Mrs. Walling to indicate, because the Ethics Committee indicates specifically in the charter that any executive or any, I don't know, why don't I have Mrs. Walling ask the obvious question and get the answer to that, because in my opinion, there is a question, and there is a difference when you are an executive of a corporation that is going to benefit. By the way, for the record, because people said I didn't have the right information, one steel company, not yours, has 4 accounts in 1 meter, the numbers that we were in 18 that was told to be cost neutral, they saved $336,444 in their water bill. That's 1 meter out of 4. So just everybody, so they understand that, when one person saves water, it gets spread across the other users. That's why we had people increasing by 30 and 35%. So I would like Mrs. Wine to read the charter provision regarding what is a conflict regarding what we're talking about right now.